His love is a surrogate. Chapter 1. She does not know the man. In the middle of the night, a black Lincoln SUV was driving into a luxurious mansion located in the most prestigious neighborhood of a city. Ruan Cheng's eyes were covered with a piece of silk cloth inside a villa. The man didn't want her to know who he was. Don't be afraid. Take a deep breath. Ruan Cheng, you can do it. Nothing is more important than keeping Dad alive after he has a liver transplant. It is nothing to sacrifice for Dad. The sound of a car driving into the villa was clearly heard. As things turned out this way, the only thing she could do was to keep comforting herself in her heart. When Chenjue walked in, he immediately saw Ruan Cheng standing in his bedroom. The 18-year-old girl was in bloom, looking all grown up and beautiful. Hello. She stammered and greeted stiffly as she felt the man approaching and took a step back unconsciously. She thought that after a few days of mental preparation, she would not be afraid. But at this moment she felt scared, and even wanted to run away. Chenjue didn't know whether his action tonight was brutal. All he knew was that he needed a child of his own before his next birthday in order to complete the task given by old Master Mu. At that moment, Chenjue condescendingly sized the petite girl. Why are you so scared? The man's voice was calm and attractive. Ruan Cheng was a little shocked. He actually sounds very nice and young. Why would an old man who is past 50 have such a perfect voice? I am not an HIV carrier. And I also have no perverted and special hobbies in bed, the man said with a deep and mellow voice, seemingly trying to appease her. He was sure that she was not shy. Instead, she was afraid of him. Before she could even react, she heard the man say again, if you are afraid of pain, I will try to make you happy during the process. Let's start. The man announced coldly, as if he was announcing the beginning of a meeting. He was so serious that she was dumbfounded. In an instant, she was being carried in his arms. This was the first time Ruan Cheng had ever been lifted up by a man like this. So she felt her heart beating rapidly. I don't know if you are fully grown. If it hurts, let me know and I will stop. Chenjue was mindful of her feelings as he reminded her. However, it only made Ruan Cheng even more afraid. Taking in a deep breath, she bit her lips and closed her eyes tightly. With her thick eyelashes fluttering, the man suddenly felt a tingling sensation throughout his body. She was born fair, like a delicate flower bud that had yet to bloom under the morning sun. At this moment, her skin was glowing with a faint hue of pink due to embarrassment. He reached out to undress her, and she flinched. Don't step back, the man said bobbed fiercely. He suddenly grabbed her thin and fair wrist, pulled her into his arms, and whispered in her ear, don't you dare take a step back if you don't want me to force myself onto you. Ruan Cheng didn't dare to take another step back, while her cheeks quickly turned red because of his words. Her body was now pressed against the stranger's. As they faced each other, she could even feel that his body was strong and sturdy. However, if he is a young man, who is rich and handsome, why does he have to pay the price to get an ordinary girl like her to bear his child? Perhaps he is extremely ugly, so ugly that no woman wants to bear his children in real life even if he has a lot of money. I have a question. Just ask. The man's voice was already filled with displeasure, while his warm hands removed her clothes in a rather hasty manner. Initially, we agreed on having an IVF. Why did it turn into natural conception? This was a question that had been stuck in her mind. The man's warm breath touched her forehead. Ah, it hurts. She cried out in pain as she felt a sudden grasp on her body after she finished asking the question. Her cry caused Chenjue's voice to fluctuate instantly, as he said, I don't want to lose any of the chromosomes in my body. I can only be assured by omitting the procedure in between and putting it in you directly. Is this reason good enough? Then, she was pinched again in her hands. It hurts. A thin layer of sweat formed on her forehead, as her mind went blank for a while. She tried to struggle but to no avail. Her frail body was easily restrained by him after he domineeringly pressed her under his own. This was a delicate flower bud. Chenjue knew that in order to have a child, he must penetrate her. He believed that the most humane way to do it was to treat her as gently as possible. At the moment they became one, he frowned slightly as his breathing became heavier, fearing that he would not be able to control the instincts of his body. This delicate and fragile flower bud might be in danger of being crushed by him. That night, Ruan Cheng experienced countless feelings between the sheets: pain, helplessness, and lethargy. Ruan Cheng didn't know when the man left. When she woke up and checked the time, it was 3 a.m. The housekeeper, Dang Fong, hadn't slept yet, so she walked over and spoke to her politely. "Miss Ruan, I will take you to clean your body." "Thank you, but I can do it myself." Ruan Cheng was in a daze. She could feel her dried tears tightening on her skin. She couldn't lay bare before the housekeeper even though the housekeeper was a woman. Right then, Dang Fong left the room. With a swift movement, she got up and headed to the bathroom in a daze. When she returned from cleaning herself, the bed sheets and quilts in the bedroom had been changed. Soon after, she fell asleep, and that night, she had a dream. She dreamed of the year when she was in junior high school in her grandfather's hometown. It was spring and it was raining a lot. She was secretly watching the basketball game on the field in the neighboring high school. The popular guy in that high school who looked extremely attractive while playing basketball was a senior with the surname Mu who had just transferred from another school. After waking up the next day, she felt abnormally tired and sore all over her body. Standing in front of the vanity while holding a toothbrush, she got distracted in front of the mirror for a long time, as she thought of last night's dream in a daze. Mu was an unattainable dream for all the girls in the school. Whereas she, the humble and insignificant girl who was frequently bullied in school, had always fantasized about having a brother to protect herself at an age when she didn't understand romance. When she came to learn of romance, the first boy that came up in her mind was Mu. Unfortunately, he had left school abruptly after only 1 year of high school. She was brought back to reality when she realized the wash basin had been overflowed. She gasped and shook her head to dismiss the thought. "Ruan Cheng, you don't deserve a man like him." Then, she locked herself in the room, as she felt like she had been invaded. In the evening, Ruan Cheng learned about the news. That man was here again. Welcome to download Joyread app to read more chapters of His Love is a Surrogate novel online.